Hi everyone, I'm Aurora Newton, and today I have my husband with me. This is Scott Newton,
Good morning.
and this is Ask the A-Team. But again, Angie's not with me today because we are out at a training conference for inner healing. It's called Unbroken, and it's in Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania, at Global Awakening. And yesterday we had the privilege of sitting in on a class. At Global Awakening, and we heard a really powerful speaker and actually pastor. His name, what was his name?
Yes.
David Hess. David Hess. Sorry about that, but just a really good message on women in ministry and how we need to rise up, men and women together. That's really clipping the wings of the eagle flying if we don't have them rising up. So you have heard Angie and I talk about our husbands and how they feel about women in ministry. So I just thought, since he heard that powerful message too, and he was very passionate about it, weren't you?
Was it
Yeah.
was it was something that we had heard Chris Vallotton talk about, and some of the passages that he talked about what Paul in his letter to Timothy about women should be silent, and so David brought this topic up, and in that he was talking about that Paul's letter was addressing a certain church about a certain topic. It is not in all of Paul's letters. It's not in. In fact, he only has it in one other letter to the
Ephesians
church
and the
in
Corinthians. Yep.
Ephesus, who had a different but similar situation that he was addressing with that letter. It's not in the Thessalonican letters. It's not in Romans. It's not in any of the other letters that Paul writes. So clearly, it is not a church-wide issue of all women need to not speak in church and not teach and not be leaders, because as David went through the different books in the Bible, Exodus, he talked about Miriam, he talked about Deborah, he talked about.
Let's stop on Deborah for a second
Okay.
because this was really interesting to me. I remember like breezing through Deborah's husband. But he stopped on that and he paused on that about how Deborah's husband actually empowered her and sent her forth. And so then he talked about Genesis and how in Genesis, where it talks about the husband is the head of the wife, he said that head, and every time you see that in scripture actually means like headwaters to release. So I thought that was really cool because, again, as Angie and I have shared, you have and Jason have released us to be all that God calls us to be. I'm getting choked up here, and that really means a lot to me, babe. Would you just like talk about that, like what it's like being married to a pastor and a woman that speaks and that is a powerful woman.
Well, I think about what would happen if I didn't. If I fought this. I mean, I thought about our income last year, and I'm not going to share what we made, but last year you made more than I did. We both had some changes in our job, and I know of some couples where the income is a competition, and there is my income and your income, and we've
That's
never
true.
had that position from day one. And I thought about who won our competition last year, and we won because we had more money to do what we wanted to, whether we wanted to give it away, whether we wanted to spend it. We won. And I just thought about this, how not fun and how not blessed our marriage would be if that was a competition, if that was a mine and yours situation. Um, I see the joy in your heart when you get to go out and do these things, and it's not because I've given you permission. Again, that headship is not about me controlling you and you coming to me and you getting my position because I'm your covering or any of that. It is, we're a partnership. My job is to protect you, but aside from that, you're a powerful woman, and you do these things, and you don't need my permission. I mean, we talk about all of this
Mm-hmm.
stuff of what we talk about what we're both of us are doing.
Right.
Um, but I just think about how miserable we would be if I was trying to control you and say, well, you can do this, you can't do that, and I'm not sure you should be doing this, and what will people think of me if you're doing this? And I just think about how miserable I would be, let alone how miserable you would be if you weren't doing what you're wanting to do. And I can't see doing it any other way. Um, if I could be any encouragement to any husband out there, just let your wife do what God calls her to do. You're not gonna. I'm trying to think of some instance where I've thought, oh, wow, that really shouldn't have. I shouldn't have allowed that to happen. I just.
It's just not who you are.
Well, it's not who I am, but I'm trying to think of some situation where it's backfired. It's like, oh my gosh, that didn't go so well. I can't think of anything. Right? Do you?
No, I can't think of anything either.
I mean, not that everything works out perfectly all the time, but I don't. Nothing comes to mind at all. I just see how blessed you are when you come home from an event that you've done, or when you've spoken at church, or even if it's transitions, no matter, or you do the communion, and just the people that God impacts through you, and I wouldn't want to take that joy from you. So,
I'm
you know,
about to cry. So, guys, I really felt like you needed to hear this from one of our men that it's authentic, it's real, and how blessed we are, and how important it is to be all that God calls you to be for Him. If God was calling him into the ministry, that would be me. I would be supporting and equipping and all of those things with him. But he sees his role as the protector and releasing me. Sorry, I'm really choked up. Thank you so much for joining us today. I really hope that the things that he said not only blesses our men out there, but blesses our women too. And just pray into that. Just really pray into what your relationship looks like if you're in a relationship. And if you're not, just consider the things that we said if you're thinking about going into a relationship, because it really is about coming together and empowering and equipping and releasing each other to be all that God calls us to be. Thanks, babe. Thank you for joining me today. Miss you, Angie. Can't wait to see you. Thank you all for joining us. If this has helped you in any way, please like and share, and don't forget to follow Ask the A-Team.
God bless you.
Oh, bye-bye.